In Parliament last Tuesday, I sought to get a 2-minute extension for the Shadow Minister of Health, Dayton Campbell, to bring to public attention the deepening crisis at Cornwall Regional Hospital and the failure of the government to address this crisis with the urgency it deserves. He was responding, Dayton Campbell that is, to a statement, a lengthy statement that had been made by the Minister of Health and was being prevented from completing his own response. In seeking this 2-minute extension, I used a gesture which has become the subject of controversy and interpreted as offensive, as the records of the Parliament will show. At no time was any offense meant, and none was taken either by the Speaker, who is the presiding officer of the Parliament, nor by any member of the Parliament on either side of the aisle. However, in light of the misinterpretation and in some instances misrepresentation, I regret using this gesture in what was a light-hearted moment of banter in the House, in fact intended to diffuse any tensions which were arising. However, the controversy generated in public discussion over the past 2 days should not be allowed to divert public attention from the serious threat posed by the negligence of the government to the Jamaican people, and particularly to the people who use the facilities of the Cornwall Regional Hospital. As we sought to do at the Parliament, there are numerous questions which need to be answered, and we sought the answers to these questions, including, for example, the circumstances surrounding the delay of the decision to evacuate the main building of the Cornwall Regional Hospital. We also need to know the numbers of persons and the extent of the illnesses that have been suffered by the medical staff, including the nurses, the doctors, and others employed at the hospital. We have no idea of the extent to which members of the families of the medical personnel have been affected, and the extent of their ailments, nor the type of ailments. We still do not know the extent to which patients who use the hospital over the past year before the complete evacuation suffered from the ailments being reported by the medical staff. The country does not know the adequacy of the arrangements being made to decontaminate the building, and who is going to make those assessments as to the adequacy of those arrangements. We have no idea as to the timetable for restoring a satisfactory work environment at the hospital. And quite frankly, we consider that the whole approach to the sitting of Parliament last Tuesday was one aimed at preventing the opposition from discharging its duties to secure answers to these very important questions. We consider that the whole issue is such that there is need for a public inquiry to be made. We think that this public inquiry should be an independent one, and that the membership should be selected from among persons recommended by the professional organizations of the doctors, the nurses, the other categories of medical staff, as well as utilizing the recommendations of the relevant departments of the University of Technology, that is to say the Department of Toxicology and of the University of the West Indies. This is a matter of urgent national importance. It has been suggested that the ministry wants to do an inquiry into the circumstances of the maintenance schedules for the building. We have no difficulty at all with that issue being part of the terms of reference of such a commission of inquiry. The issue here is not the interests of the People's National Party, nor dare I say the interests of the governing Jamaica Labour Party. The interests that need to be explored here are the interests of the people of Jamaica who depend on these facilities. I think it's also very important for me to record here today our deep concern about the way in which the role of the Parliament has been diminished during the term of this administration. Questions being asked by members of Parliament have been routinely ignored. The General Secretary, who will speak further to this matter, has had a question on the order paper which languished for more than 1 year and 3 months. The standing orders require questions to be answered in 21 days and with the possibility of extension for 2 weeks. And even that 2-week extension can only be given with the concurrence of the person asking the question. That's what the standing orders stipulate. But they have been, those standing orders have been routinely breached. Members of Parliament are regularly denied the opportunity to speak in a manner provided for by the standing orders, whether it is in their ability to ask supplementary questions of a minister, whether it is in relation to their right to speak without abuse or interruption. They are being denied these rights. We are also concerned about the fact that too often in the Parliament is a general atmosphere of abuse and disrespect to members of the Parliament, members of the opposition, allowed to prevail. And we are also concerned about the extent to which the Speaker intervenes as a participant in the discussions of the Parliament, which is expressly prohibited by the conventions of the Parliament. And we want to indicate from here that we take this matter so seriously that we are going to be strenuously defending the provisions of the standing orders and the provisions of the Constitution. Our parliamentary democracy demands a properly functioning Parliament. Those complete my remarks, and I'm going to ask Dr. McNeil, Vice President, with particular responsibilities for Western Jamaica, to raise particular questions regarding the Cornwall Regional Hospital in the absence of Dr. Campbell, who is unable to be here this morning. Following him, the